Hi guys and welcome back to the Mighty Blues. My name is of course Cameron and welcome back today to another live stream. It is the live game review to Everton's 3-1 victory over Burnley at Goodison Park on Monday night. Wow, what an electric second half performance that was, shall we say. I don't think I've watched a game of football in a long time where two halves have been so contrasting. The first half was just such a horrible, boring game of football between two sides who weren't playing very well, weren't creating many chances and couldn't really keep the ball. Everton couldn't keep the ball whatsoever. We're giving the ball away every time we had it, making silly decisions, giving it away sloppily. And Burnley, whilst they probably were holding the ball a little bit better than Everton were, they were not doing anything with it. They ended up lumping it forward and it was defended easily. And, you know, it was just an awful half of football, wasn't it, really? It was a really poor half in regards to quality, you know, from both sides. And then the second half, all of a sudden, obviously, Burnley scored early on, and then Everton just turned it on within a 5 or 6 minute spell. We go from, you know, Barnsley to Barcelona, and that's no disrespect to Barnsley, and in fact, you know, Barcelona aren't even that good anymore, but you get what I'm trying to say. It was absolutely madness, and to be there in the stadium during that period in the second half where obviously, you know, Michael Keane scores the equaliser, then Townsend fires one in with his left boot from 30 odd yards, and then obviously Demarai Gray scored, and even Abdoulaye Doucouré's goal after it, even though it was ruled offside. It was just it was what being back at Goodison Park is. It was home, it was the emotion, it was the energy, it was the crowd, it was the passion, the desire. It was just absolutely fantastic. The atmosphere at that point was unbelievable. The performance on the pitch was showing as well. We turned it on and all of a sudden Burnley couldn't get anywhere near us, and at the end of the day, at the end of the game, in a game that, you know, in the first half, both teams were shocking and didn't seem like they could create a chance to save their lives. That game could have ended 4-5, 6-1, you know, to Everton, and obviously Burnley scored in the you know, towards the end of the game. It was ruled offside, rightly so, but like I said, you know, considering it was such a poor 45 minutes from both sides, could have ended a 6-7 goal, you know, game towards the end of it, because Everton just turned it on in the second half. And again, that was down to Rafa Benitez changing the system, changing the, you know, the formation, changing the way in which we play, and the players as well turning up and you know, grabbing the game by the scruff of the neck and almost going, no, we're not coming away from this game with a point. These are the sides that we need to be beating. We need to show our quality. Yeah, and the fans as well at Goodison Park. I'm sure if you were there on Monday night, you will have heard the atmosphere, the change in the atmosphere. I always say this: it's like what come first, the chicken or the egg, isn't it? With atmosphere, it's, you know, the fans help the players, but the players help the fans as well. It's a two-way relationship. You know, the players put the performance in on the pitch and the fans will react to that. If the players don't put the performance in on the pitch, then the fans will react poorly. But if the fans get behind the players even when it's not going well, then the players are more likely to put that performance in, and it all sort of just mixed together perfectly, didn't it, on Monday night? You know, as soon as Michael Keane's goal went in, the atmosphere sort of built, and, you know, everybody was on the edge of the seat, and it was almost like, right, come on, sort yourselves out now, go out and get grab this game by the scruff of the neck and win it. And, you know, then Townsend fires one in with his left foot, which is a rocket, by the way. I refuse to believe that fella has got a left foot like any normal human being. He must be like Inspector Gadget. I liken him to, if you've ever seen James Bond and, you know, Odd Job, he was a fella who wore a suit and he had a bowler hat, and basically this bowler hat he used to throw, and it used to be like a spear, and it used to be like a deadly weapon. I likened them to Odd Job from James Bond, because there's no way that is a regular left foot of a regular human being. That left foot is something out of a Marvel movie, mate. He's an absolute superhero. I don't know how. I really don't know how Nick Pope saved the second shot, to be perfectly honest with you. I've watched it back 2 or 3 times, and it baffles me how he managed to A, get a hand on it, and B, for his hand to not break at that moment, because again, that was it with such fire, such venom. It was an unbelievable goal by Townsend, and we will go into it in a little bit more detail a little bit later on in the live stream. But overall, like I said, a really, really good win for Everton. A win that we needed, of course, coming back from the international break. It's never particularly easy because you do sort of lose your flow. We saw it last season. Obviously, the international break was delayed last season because of, the season starting later, and we went into that one winning 7 games out of 7, 4 out of 4 in the Premier League, and then we come out of it playing Liverpool in the next game, and we saw in that Merseyside derby at Goodison Park that the international break had really not done us any favours whatsoever, because we'd lost our momentum, we'd lost our sort of, almost as if we'd forgotten how to play the way we were playing at the start of the season. So this early international break, again, in some ways was a positive for Everton. I've mentioned it before. Listen, I don't like the international break whatsoever. I really, really don't. And I think the one in September is absolutely pointless. But I would be hypocritical if I wasn't to sit here and say I think that international break just gone helped Everton in a couple of ways. Obviously, ideally Dominic Calvert-Lewin would have been able to recover from his injuries. It happens that he's picked up another injury, and therefore, could be out for 2 to 3 weeks. But obviously, Richarlison's got on a rest, which was desperately needed. The likes of Ben Godfrey's been able to get back in training and work on his fitness. James Rodriguez, obviously, we didn't see on Monday. I'm sure has been able to work on his fitness, after coming back from his holidays. And even Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who obviously has picked up another injury and ended up, being out injured, but he'll have had a few days, a week off training, which would have helped him massively as well. So I don't actually think the international break was particularly bad for Everton this time round. However, notoriously it does sort of stop your flow, it stops your momentum, it stops you, the way you're playing ultimately, because you've had that break, and that was always the danger going into this game on Monday night, was that Everton weren't able to get back to that performance against Brighton, because that performance against Brighton was absolutely unbelievable. It really, really was, and to be fair, I liken this game to the game against Southampton, and that's not because it was the same scoreline, but it's because once again, on Monday night, similarly to the game against Southampton on the opening game of the season, we were poor in the first half, really, really poor. Now, luckily enough for us, Burnley were really poor in the first half as well. And then all of a sudden, the manager, the Benitez, I nearly said then, the manager changed it. In not at half time, but 10-15 minutes into the second half, he changed it when we could all see it wasn't working. He went from a 5 at the back to a 4 at the back, 4-3-3, put Andre Gomes on in midfield, and ultimately Andre Gomes changed the game. And how good is it to see, by the way, players that we last season we were almost writing off as not good enough to be anywhere near this Everton team. And again, listen, for those fans that are going to come and say, oh, Cam, don't start sitting here now saying that, you love everybody and you want and you think everybody's great. No, listen, I understand we're 4 games into a Premier League season. I get that, we shouldn't get too excited and we shouldn't get too ahead of ourselves, because there's still a long, long way to go. There's a lot of football to go. But hear me out. How good is it to see that there's certain players in this Everton squad, your likes of your Andre Gomez's, your Alex Iwobi's, who, when they're coming on the pitch, as a substitute, they're changing the game. I remember last season at times under Carlo Ancelotti, Andre Gomes would warm up when Everton were losing the game 1-0 or 1-1, I think it was at the time when he come on. Andre Gomes would be warming up at 1-1, and you'd be sitting there thinking, why is Ancelotti bringing Andre Gomes on? He's not going to change the game. He's not going to go out and win us the game, is he? He's not going to give us what we need. But he changed the game on Monday night. How good is it to see when Alex Iwobi's getting changed? There's actually a little bit of excitement, thinking, do you know what? The last couple of games, he's really changed the game. He didn't do an awful lot on Monday night, but he come on and he gave a little bit of, he worried Burnley's defence, because he could get down, he threw the ball across the box a couple of times, he used his pace, he used his power. How good is it to see these players that last season we'd see coming off the bench and sort of just think, oh my God, what are we doing here? This fella's not going to do anything, to now they're actually coming on the pitch and changing the game. And I do think that, a large part of that change was because of the fact that we changed the system and we went back to a 4 at the back. I think Ben Godfrey, although he played well and didn't do anything particularly wrong, I think it was clear to see he wasn't at that level of fitness that he needed to be at throughout the entire game. He wasn't going on them runs that you usually see him going on. He wasn't as confident on the ball. He almost seemed like every time he picked the ball up, he wanted to get rid of it, which is fine. It was his first game back for a long time. We know he's been struggling with isolation and COVID and stuff, so that's fine. In order to get game time, you need to play games of football, and I've got no issue with Ben playing, and he didn't make any mistake. He didn't do anything stupid. He just wasn't the usual typical Ben Godfrey, which, as I said in the instant match reaction, ultimately is a compliment. To be able to look at a 22-year-old centre-back who's had a decent game of football and say, that's not what we usually get out of you. That's a compliment, because that shows how good he is typically, usually. But that change of system, that change of style was important. But you also have to give massive credit to the player that come in that position, because Andre Gomes could have come on and formed part of a midfield three with Alan and Decore and just done absolutely nothing throughout the entire game. You know, hid, not wanted the ball, give the ball away, and all of a sudden, you know, that change of system would have made no difference, because Burnley would have grew into the game with confidence and they'd have attacked and they'd have probably, you know, again created more chances. But he didn't. Andre Gomes come on, he held the ball up, he won fouls when he needed to win fouls, he brought the ball down, he used his strength, he moved it out, he had the shot which he very nearly scored and probably should have scored if we're being truthful. You know, in the park end, towards the park end, he was cool, he was calm, he was collected on the ball, and he almost allowed Alan and Decore to be a little bit more expansive. He almost allowed Alan and Decore to get a hold of the ball a bit more. You started to see Decore moving forward. You know, you started to see Decore in the attacking areas, which is where you want him to see. Obviously, he scored the fourth goal, which is ultimately offside, by driving into the box. Would he have done that had he have not had an extra midfielder behind him as well as Alan to give him a little bit of cover? Would he have done that in that 5 at the back formation? I don't think he would have, and I think that was one thing we saw from the 5 at the back formation on Monday night, was it massively hindered Abdoulaye Decore's play, because it massively hindered his opportunities to get forward and to create chances up the other end of the pitch. If there's one thing we've seen from Abdoulaye Decore, you know, since the start of the season, it's that he's having a lot of enjoyment getting forward, you know, being on the edge of the box, creating chances. His goal against Southampton, his goal the other night, which obviously was ruled offside. He's had a couple of chances in the game against Brighton that he should have scored. He's enjoying getting forward and playing on the edge of the opposition box and getting in those areas to get chances for himself and ultimately score goals. Now, obviously, he's still doing his defensive duties and he's still working desperately hard. But when you've got, you know, when we were playing the formation that we were playing and he was only 2 in midfield, I don't think he thought, well, I don't think he was not allowed to get forward as much, but there wasn't as much cover, there wasn't as much protection behind him, so I think he was a little bit more worried about getting forward. Whereas when Andre Gomes come on, all of a sudden he's got 2 midfielders behind him, so we can move into those forward areas. And like I said, Andre Gomes himself changed the game, his performance changed the game, and how refreshing is it to see these players that 5 weeks ago we'd have all said sell straight away. And I'm not sitting here saying that Andre Gomes is now the best player on the planet and we should keep him forever. Listen, if we get a bid in January, maybe the club will sell, and I wouldn't be too disheartened by that. But we've gone from players coming on the pitch as substitutes that won't make any difference, and in fact, if anything, might hinder the performance, to players coming on the pitch and changing the game. You know, I don't think Rafa Benitez has made a bad substitution since being manager of Everton Football Club. I really don't. And by that, I don't think he's made a bad substitution in terms of players, you know, changing games in a negative way. I actually don't think he's brought a player on that hasn't impacted the game positively yet since joining Everton. I really, really don't. Every time Alex Iwobi's come on, he's impressed. Every time Andre Gomes has come on, he's impressed. Solomon Rondon come on the other day and done okay. You know, held his own for his debut. He's brought Yerry Mina on, I think, against Brighton. And he stood strong and obviously saw the game out. It might have been Southampton. I don't think he's made a bad substitution yet. I really, really don't. So it's positive. It's very, very, very positive. And that win on Monday was a very positive win. It really, really was. There is room to improve. Of course, there's room to improve, because ultimately we want to be sitting here doing game reviews saying, oh my God, what an amazing 90 minutes of football that was. How good were Everton from minute 1 to minute 90? And that wasn't the case on Monday. We can't sit here and say that. And again, similarly to the game against Southampton, that wasn't the case. You know, as good as the second half was, and it was amazing, and this has to be, you know, we have to have positive conversations about this game, because the second half was absolutely amazing. We were brilliant, especially in that 6-minute spell. It was like not watching Everton. My dad, even when Decore's goal went in, my dad, who struggles with his knees, probably have a go at me for saying this, but he struggles with his knees. Obviously, he was up in the air again, standing up to celebrate the 4th goal in about 7 minutes. And when it got ruled outside, and obviously the atmosphere went quiet, I just heard him say next to me, bloody hell, Everton, you're going to kill me here. What's going on here? Goal after goal after goal after goal. It was like nothing you've ever seen before. You've seen Everton bounce back in games. You've seen Everton perform a lot better in the second half than we have in the first half. But when was the last time Everton, all of a sudden, within the space of 5 minutes, bang, 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 1, 2, 3, 4 goals, even if the 4th was offside? It was just ruthless. I actually think that the offside goal, I think it sort of killed our momentum a little bit, to be honest, because obviously Burnley then had a little bit of time to get their head down and sort of think, right, we need to sort this out here, otherwise this could be a cricket score. And Everton sort of, again, I think it just broke the flow a little bit. Whereas if that fourth would have counted, and listen, I haven't seen it again, I don't think, but it is offside from what I believe and from people that have seen it. But if Burnley if Everton would have scored that fourth goal and it would have counted, who knows what would have happened? We'd have probably gone again, and it might have been 5, it might have been 6. So it was unlike, you know, anything that we've seen of Everton for a long time. And Kev says, especially going behind, heads usually go down. They do, and that's something that we've seen again. Like I said, in the 2 home games this season, we've seen Everton go behind at home when we've not been playing particularly well. We were awful against Southampton in that first half, and we were really, really poor against Burnley in the first half and the first 10-15 minutes of the second half, before the changes were made. We go 1-0 down in both games. The atmosphere, listen, I'll admit, the atmosphere was a bit dour. There was, you know, obviously, it was very much, we're not going to lose to Burnley in this way, are we? We're not going to sit here and get outplayed by Burnley. Because that first half, at times, we were giving Burnley far too much respect. This centre forwards had far too easy of an afternoon in that first half. Far too easy of an evening, should I say. Second half, great. Yerry Mina, Michael Keane, fantastic, absolutely fantastic. But in that first half, I do think Chris Wood and Ashley Barnes got the better of the two of them. I do. Yes, they didn't create a particularly amount of chances. They had one chance where a ball come across the box and you know, I think it's Chris Wood doesn't get his head to it. It's a sitter really. But yes, they weren't creating a massive amount of chances. Yes, they weren't, you know, really threatening us on goal. You know, Jordan Pickford didn't have a lot to do. They were still winning that physical battle. They were still frustrating us. They were still keeping the ball better than we were. They were still battling and fighting more than we were. They looked the team that were more interested in the game, and that's why when they scored the goal, I sort of thought, these are just going to go 11 men behind the ball here and, you know, defend for the rest of the game. And how are we going to break this down when we're playing like this? But again, heads didn't drop, as Kev said. Heads didn't drop. They got back up. Townsend picked himself back up. Went again, done a lot of defensive work in the first half, but thought in the second half, do you know what? I've got to get forward here. I've got to be, you know, showing what I can do as a winger, not just as a defensive sort of minded, you know, player or defensive, with my defensive ability. I've got to show what I can bring going forward. He does that with an excellent ball in and then an absolute worldie of a sight. So there's certainly room to improve. Of course there's room to improve, because the room to improve would be that we're not sitting here talking about a just first half. I mean, usually we talk about the entirety of the first half, we talk about half time, and then we talk about the entirety of the second half, but there's not really much to talk about for the first half, is there? Really, there's nothing really happened. It was just an awful game of football from both sides. It was like watching a Sunday League game. It was really, really poor. Everton couldn't keep the ball. Abdoulaye Doucouré and Alan, I don't think they suited that 5 at the back formation. Obviously, we'll go with the formation to start. Rafa Benitez started with 5 at the back, or 3 at the back, whatever you want to call it. Jordan Pickford in goal. A defensive 3 of Ben Godfrey, Yerry Mina and Michael Keane. Seamus Coleman on the right, Luca Dean on the left, Alan and Abdoulaye Doucouré up front, in the middle of the park. And then obviously Andros Townsend, Damari Gray and Richarlison as the front 3. We found out before the game that James Rodriguez wasn't a part of the matchday squad. Why that is, I don't know. Maybe it's because he's not fit. I'd probably go with the assumption that it's because he's not match fit, because he's not had a lot of training. So I'd go with that. And obviously more worryingly, we found out that Dominic Calvert-Lewin had picked up another injury in training and will likely be out for up to 2 to 3 weeks, maybe more, Rafa Benitez has stated. So we knew Dominic Calvert-Lewin was a doubt going into the game because of his previous injuries, but to find out that he picked up a further injury to the 2 that we already knew about, which of course was a broken toe and a thigh strain, and he might be out now for 2 to 3 weeks. So we're going to have to be able to cope without Dominic Calvert-Lewin and without his goal scoring ability, without his clinicalness in front of goal, and whether that's through Richarlison playing as a sole striker, whether that's through us playing a 4-3-3 or a 4-4-2 and Solomon Rondon starting games. Obviously Solomon Rondon come on for his debut the other night, done alright, you know, held the ball up a couple of times, passed it off a couple of times as well. Didn't really have an awful lot to do. You know, he come on at a time where the game was pretty much dead and buried, wasn't it? But he done alright. He done alright. So who knows whether we'll see Solomon Rondon against Villa on Saturday, or whether Rafa Benitez will go with a sole striker in Richarlison and sort of go with the 4-3-3. But like I said, if one thing was as clear as day or as clear as night on Monday night. If you're enjoying it, by the way, please hit that like button. It does only take a second. We will be getting in the live comments in a moment, but if you are enjoying, please do hit that big thumbs up button. It only takes a second, and it means a massive amount to me, and we will be back in the comments in a second. Like I said, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're new as well. Loads of new subscribers over the weekend, so thank you all very much for that. If you are new to the channel and you could subscribe, that would be absolutely brilliant. And yeah, like I said, if you could share the scene, that'd be great as well. But if there's one thing that was quite evidently clear throughout the first half, and like I said, the first 10 or 15 minutes of the second half, it was that this 5 at the back formation wasn't really working for Everton. It wasn't, and it wasn't really working because we were poor defensively. Again, as I said, Burnley didn't really have many opportunities in that first half. They weren't really threatening us, they weren't hurting us. But like I said before, they were, for me, winning that physical battle. Ben Godfrey, you could see, looked tired. Now, again, I've got no issue with Ben Godfrey starting. I haven't. And maybe Rafa Benitez's thinking was, well, he didn't want to play a 4 at the back because Ben Godfrey isn't fit, or isn't at that level of fitness that we need him to be at. So I didn't want him to be one of only 2 centre-halves and then pretty much have a sole responsibility on the other centre-half to be able to cover him if need be. But I also didn't want to not play Ben Godfrey because he needs to get match fit. He needs to play games of football in order to get to that level of fitness because he's one of our best centre-halves. So, sort of a catch-22, and I understand if that was Rafa Benitez's thinking to go with the 5 at the back because he wanted to get Ben Godfrey in to get his fitness up, but he didn't want to be exposed defensively because of Ben Godfrey's lack of fitness. Even though Ben didn't do anything wrong, I think you could see on Monday night that he wasn't his usual self, and that's understandable. But you could see that, like I said, the formation was hindering the midfielders. Abdoulaye Doucouré wasn't able to get forward as much as we would like him to. The forwards were very isolated. Richarlison was very isolated. Andros Townsend was doing a lot of defensive work in that first half and wasn't really getting forward whatsoever. Demarai Gray was picking the ball up and trying to create chances and trying to get forward and trying to make something happen, but was finding it very difficult. And it just wasn't working. The 5 at the back just wasn't working. And I know the 5 at the back is a formation that some people like, some people don't like, some people think works, some people think it doesn't work, and that's fine. But it just wasn't working. It really wasn't working on Monday night. And Rafa Benitez saw that and would have seen that in the first half and maybe tried to see it out in the second half and think, right, you know what, we'll get to 60-70 minutes here, then I can take Ben Godfrey off, and then I can go back to a sort of 4 at the back with you know, a 4-3-3 or a 4-4-2, which obviously we've seen before. As I said, we come out in the second half after what was a dross first half. We come out in the second half and nothing's changed. Of course, nothing's changed because there's been no tactical change, there's been no formation change, and there's been no change in personnel. So performance was very much the same. Not being able to keep a hold of the ball, giving the ball away far too easily. Burnley winning that physical battle. You know, again, Richarlison isolated up top. Demarai Gray not really being able to get into those, you know, big big spaces where he can run into. Andros Townsend not really getting the ball in the right areas. And then all of a sudden we go 1-0 down. Again, Everton's Achilles heel, Everton's kryptonite. I was going to say at the moment, but to be fair, it's been Everton's kryptonite for about the last 10 years. Crosses into the box. Do you know what? Sometimes I look at our back line and I think, Yerry Mina on his day is absolutely outstanding. I think Yerry Mina in the second half of this game was absolutely amazing. You know, again, I've likened him to a ball magnet before. Anytime the ball comes anywhere near him, he's there, he's dealing with it. You know, he's getting it out, whether it be with his head, whether it be with his legs, whether it be with his arse, whether it be with his back. He's getting it out. Michael Keane, when he's confident, you know, again, can be an absolutely brilliant centre-half. We saw how good that goal done for Michael Keane the other day. All of a sudden he scores the equaliser, and defensively he's absolutely brilliant again. But how many goals we concede from balls into the box, from crosses, from corners, from set plays is worrying. It really is worrying, because teams will target that this season if we're not careful. Teams will watch Everton's games and think, right, okay, they're good on the attack, they're good going forward, they've got some good attacking players, but they struggle with crosses into the box. So if you're getting anywhere near the edge of the box or the wide areas, throw balls in and, put them in this area and have this centre forward attacking them. Because that seems to be what we struggle with at the moment, whether it be corners, whether it be free kicks, whether it be just crosses. We seem to be struggling with being able to deal with those balls into the box. And again, another ball comes in, I think it was Goodmanson, and Ben Mee heads it away. And, that was when I think, there was not a great feeling amongst Evertonians at Goodison Park, and probably those, sat at home watching as well, or watching, wherever they were watching, because not only had we watched the first half of absolutely dross football, but we're now 1-0 down against a side like Burnley, who notoriously, in those positions, throw 11 men behind the ball, and it's very, very difficult to get back into a game against a side like Burnley when you go 1-0 down, especially given the fact that we only had, half an hour, 35 minutes to do so, and we weren't playing very good football anyway. But you could see at that point, it was time for the change. We needed to make a change. We needed to change the formation. We needed to go a little bit more expansive, a little bit more attacking. We will get into that change and that mad 6 minutes of football in just a moment, but let's get into some of the live comments, because why not? If you're enjoying, by the way, hit that like button. It does only take a second, and if you're new, don't forget to subscribe. Eugene says, Blues react to McNeil display. I thought he was alright. Didn't really do an awful lot. I think we defended them well, to be honest with you. I think we dealt with him well, but I thought he was okay. Not a £50 million footballer, but he done alright. Eddie says, hi Eddie, mate. Andy says, morning Cam, mate. Morning Andy, hope you're doing well. Stephen says, morning Cam, what a goal by Townsend. Unbelievable, mate. Absolutely unbelievable. Paul says, morning Cam, I'm still buzzing about how Rafa is guiding this side. Yeah, same here, mate, same here. Basic says, morning Basic. Jason says, what I've noticed about Townsend down the years, he hardly scores a bad goal. Most of his goals are 30 yards. He loves a worldie, mate. He absolutely loves a worldie. He only scores worldies. But you know what? Do you know what's mad? Do you know it's not mad about Andros Townsend, but do you know what's really good about Andros Townsend is that typically with players like that who only score worldies, down the years, I can think of, I'm not going to sit here and list the list off, but I can think of a lot of them. Typically with players like that is that you'd see them score a 30-yarder and you'd go, oh my god, what a goal. But then you'd also, if you were a fan of the team they were playing for, you'd also watch them every week try that same 30-yarder 2, 3, 4 times in a game, and it go into Rose Head, or it go out the stadium, or it go miles wide. And you look at those typical types of players who only seem to score great goals, and you think, yeah, you've got it in your locker, but more often than not, when you try it, it goes horribly wrong. Ruben Neves is a good example of it, I think, and no disrespect to Ruben Neves, great player, scored some worldies in his career, but I've also watched Ruben Neves lash the ball far away from goal in trying to score worldies. So typically you look at those players and you think, I'm not saying it's fluky when they score the goals, because they've clearly got it in their locker, but they've also got it in their locker to, for those chances to go wildly wrong and them go nowhere near goal, almost as if they're human beings. Whereas with Andros Townsend, who there is a slight part of my brain that's convinced that he is a superhero. There really is, and I'm going to be honest with you. He hits that ball from his left foot, and he's been at Everton now for a number of weeks. He's played in pre-season in Florida. He's played, obviously, the 4 Premier League games. When that ball comes off his left boot, I don't think I've ever seen a bad shot from Andros Townsend. Certainly not in an Everton shirt. He should have had a second the other night. Like I said, I really don't know how Nick Pope saved it. I really don't know how Nick Pope saved it. It literally was fired at him with so much venom that he must have left the pitch and gone, my hands are sore, mate. Because every time that ball comes off, and do you know what I'd liken it to? If you ever play a football game, FIFA or, Pro Evo or whatever, you know what I'm playing at the moment? I'm playing Spider-Man at the moment. Bit off topic, but we'll go with it anyway. I'm playing the Spider-Man game at the moment. Basically on the Spider-Man game, if you get a little combo going, so if you're in a little scrap with a few bad guys and you manage to, get a load of shots off without being hit, you get this like power shot where you basically power your whole body up and you can just blast a load of them away with one. It seems like Andros Townsend's got that in football, where if he plays a few nice passes and makes a good cross, as he did on Monday night, then he almost gets this power ability. He used to get it in FIFA Street, where he presses this button in his brain, and once that ball leaves his left foot, it's leaving at about 3,000 miles an hour, and it's going into the top corner. Because he's constantly, every time that ball is unleashed from his left foot, it's so accurate and it's with so much power. It's so consistent with it. And isn't it mad to think that a lot of Evertonians sat here, and probably myself as well, when Andros Townsend signed and said, good squad player, but hopefully he doesn't start every game. You're mad. I hope he starts every game. It's crazy, isn't it? The sort of the expectation we have on a signing, or lack of expectation we have on a signing, when they come into the football club, and we sort of think, yeah, he's alright for a squad player, good crosser of the ball, and then all of a sudden, we haven't been able to sign another winger because of FFP and the situation that we were in, and not being able to get the money to do so. Andros Townsend's getting his break in the first team. You can see very clearly loves being here. He said again in his post-game interview, it's great to score a goal for this historical club in front of these fans. He's said that he's mentioned the words historical club a number of times now about Everton. He spoke about how lucky he feels to play for Everton Football Club. He said in his post-game interview the other day that his mum was sending him compilations of his goals scored to give him a bit more confidence, to give him a confidence boost, to tell him that he's got that ability in his locker. This lad, let's not get it twisted, this lad knows that Everton are the biggest club he's ever played for, and he is massively appreciative of Everton Football Club for giving him the opportunity at 30 years old to play for the biggest football club. 30 years old to play for the biggest football club he's ever played for. And he is repaying us with his work rate on the pitch, but not only his work rate, his technical ability. Because technically this lad is a quality footballer. Absolutely unbelievable goal. The cross for Michael Keane's goal was pinpoint as well. He's just boss. He's boss. Craig says, morning lab, morning. DGST says, Cam, I'm in work in Wales. Love your channel. Up to Toffees. Is right, my mate. Hope you're doing well. Hope the kids are well. Thank you very much for getting involved. June says, good result in the end. Talk about a new right back, but based on Dean's performances over the past year, and a new left back is required. Squad looking stronger, Gomez. I don't think a new left back's required. Listen, look at Dean statistically. If you looked at his stats for the other day, he was amazing. Statistically, I'll admit, I personally was one of those Evertonians that certainly in that first half, and certainly over the last couple of games, have thought that his set plays could be a bit better, his crosses, his corners into the box could be a little bit more accurate. But I don't think we're at the stage of needing a new left back. This lad's still one of the best left backs in world football, and will show that on a number of occasions this season. I love Luca Dini's boss. Kev says, hello Cam, what a goal by Townsend. He's brilliant. He is. He's playing brilliant. He is. Jason says, makes you wonder how interested Carlo was at the end. He might have knew he was likely to leave, so didn't care. Who knows? Who knows, mate? Who knows? We'll probably never know. So we can only speculate, can't we? We can only speculate. Basic says, I wouldn't worry too much about Dean, although he is not looking great. His numbers are really good. They are. Kev says the third was similar to Rom's second for Chelsea. Yeah. Udin says, good 1-0 win for the Everton under-21s last night against Morecambe. It was. Kev says, especially going behind. Yeah. Tom says, bet your dad was breakdancing after the Gray goal. Mate, he was very happy. Very, very happy, put it that way. Robert says, not getting carried away, just good at the moment. Just nice to see a manager actually managing the team. Yeah, spot on. Jason says, don't often agree with Klopp, but at times Burnley played dirty. Mate, Burnley were, considering Sean Dyche moans about diving and players diving and trying to deceive the officials, there was a few Burnley players who were throwing themselves on the floor very easily the other day. And listen, look, again, you know what you're going to get with Burnley, and Sean Dyche doesn't come out and hide it. He doesn't come out and say, no, we're a dead clean team. He comes out and says, look, this is football, this is what I know football, so this is what my team will play. And to be fair to Burnley, they're a very physical team, you know that, and you know when you come up against a side like Burnley, it's not going to be an easy afternoon. Not only because they defend, and they make it really difficult to break them down, but also because they're very physical, because they throw themselves into challenges harsh. There was one in the opening minute on Richarlison, which is, and Gary Neville pointed this out, by the way, and I'm absolutely made up Gary Neville pointed this out, because I think it's really important, because I said this, I was sitting next to my dad, and I said it when the challenge happened. That challenge on Richarlison in the first minute of the game, I can't remember who it was by, was a mirror image of the challenge that was made on Harvey Elliott the other day, which was ultimately seen as a red card, and today has been decided that that lad for Leeds, again, can't remember his name, that red card won't be rescinded, it will stand, so he will stand a match day ban, a 3-game ban. Now, listen, that for me, that wasn't a red card. Awful injury, of course, and horrifying to see, but it wasn't a red card for me. It wasn't. Now, on that basis, that challenge on Richarlison in the opening minute of the game wasn't a red card either. However, if the referee is given a red card for the challenge on Harvey Elliott and that red card is to stand, then why isn't a red card given for the challenge on Richarlison? Which, as Gary Neville said, and he is spot on Monday Night Football, I've seen the interview after the game when I got home, it is the mirror image, the exact mirror image of the challenge on Harvey Elliott from Sunday afternoon or Saturday, whenever they played. So that's one. I don't think it's a red card, but if you're going to give it for one challenge, you've got to give it for another. The Tarkowski one on Richarlison is disgraceful. Absolutely disgraceful. Again, big respect to Gary Neville for coming out and standing it. You can sit there all you like, Sean Dyche, and say, that's proper football, that's what we want to see, that's this, that, and the other. And he won the ball, and maybe 20, 30 years ago, you'd say, great challenge, he's won the ball, brilliant challenge. But the reality of the situation is, he's off his feet, it's dangerous play, he's going in fast, and I agree with Gary Neville, he's going in with the intent to hurt Richarlison. He's not going in just with the intent to win the ball. He's going in sort of biting his tongue, going, I'm gonna leave one on you here. And that could have gone horribly wrong. Now answer me this, if Tarkowski wins the ball in that situation but snaps Richarlison's leg, is it a sending off? Because if it's a sending off then, because he's injured the player even though he's won the ball, why isn't it a sending off if he hasn't injured the player and he hasn't won the ball? Answer me this, if that challenge is made on Cristiano Ronaldo at Old Trafford, is that a sending off? If that challenge is made on Mohamed Salah at Anfield, is that a sending off? If it's made on Kai Havertz at Stamford Bridge, is it a sending off? This is what you've got to ask yourself, because for me, that challenge, you can speak all you like about, and listen, I'm as much of a I'm well up for letting the game flow and not giving silly yellow cards or silly red cards and this, that, and the other. Again, if a challenge is made and it's a hard challenge, yeah, that's fine. Hard challenges, that's all about football. But what I look at and I seriously look at is, I think if that challenge was made on certain other players who play for certain other clubs in certain other stadiums in this league, would Tarkowski still have been on the pitch after it? I don't think he would. I really, really don't think he would. So that's where my issue comes in. It's at least a yellow for dangerous play. At least a yellow. It's at least a foul. How it wasn't given a foul is absolutely beyond me. I mean, just on Martin Atkinson, before we go in to talk about, that 6 minutes of madness in the second half, that quite possibly is the worst refereeing performance I've ever seen at Goodison Park. Period. The worst refereeing performance I've ever seen. Martin Atkinson could be the worst referee at any level of football in the world. The worst referee. He is shocking. And by the way, he's sitting here absolutely fuming that we won that game. He's furious that we won that game. I don't know how, in any stretch of the imagination, that isn't a foul. Now, if you're going by the basis, which is bollocks, by the way, what I'm about to say, but if you're going on the basis that if you win the ball, it's not a foul in any sense of the imagination, which isn't the rule, then yeah, it's not a foul because he wins the ball. But as I've just said, that isn't the rule. The rule isn't that if you win doesn't matter how you win the ball, if you win the ball, it's not a foul. Because I'm pretty sure that challenge on Harvey Elliott, he won the ball in some way. But you can't challenge from behind like that. It's clear foul. How many times how many Everton players over the years have we seen? Phil Jagielka got sent off for literally winning the ball. How many times over the years have we seen Everton players sent off for winning the ball, and then the media or the referee comes out and goes, no, but it doesn't matter if you win the ball because that's not a good challenge. How Tarkowski has walked away from that challenge without even a talking to is disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. And it's just biased refereeing in my opinion. Let's get into a couple more of the comments then before we get into back into the game. If you're enjoying, by the way, please hit that like button. It only takes a second. If you're new, don't forget to subscribe. Burnley should have had the player sent off, says Eugene. Jason says Richie apparently left the ground in a sob. Well, he come off the pitch not very happy because he didn't want to come off the pitch, because he was probably looking at the game thinking, do you know what? I could get a goal here. Richarlison would have been in that period, that 6 minutes where we scored the equaliser, Townsend's goal, Gray's goal, and Decore's goal, which was offside. Richarlison would have been looking, going, I can get a goal or two here easily against these. And then when he's come off the pitch without a goal, he's obviously walking off thinking, I'm disappointed because I wanted to score, I wanted to get a goal, I wanted to get on the score sheet, I'm not happy with it. And I have no big issue. Listen, should he be more professional? Yeah. Should he grow up a bit? Probably, yeah. But I've got no issue with a player not wanting to go off and wanting to carry on playing for Everton. I'd rather that than see a player go, thank blooming hell I'm coming off here, I hate this. I'd rather see a player go, I want to stay on the pitch here, I wanted to continue, I wanted to score a goal. Because I don't know if anybody's seen the pictures circulating around Twitter, but there's a couple of pictures circulating around Twitter of when Richarlison went off. And he basically, the first picture is him sitting on the subs bench, and a lad who sat next to the subs bench has got a sign which is written in Portuguese, which I can only assume, by the way, this is an assumption, but I can only assume says something along the lines of, please can I have your shirt, Richarlison. The next picture is Richarlison seeing him. The next picture is Richarlison handing over the shirt, and then the next picture is Richarlison sitting there with no shirt on this lad looking made up with Richarlison's shirt on, matchday shirt on. So we can say he's fuming, he's this, he's that. He was happy on social media afterwards. Yes, he had a 5-10 minute spell where he looked like he had a bit of a stop on the subs bench, but you're going to get that when you've got a player who wants to stay on the pitch, wants to carry on, wants to score goals in a game that we were scoring for fun in that 10-15 minute period. So again, I understand it. Should he have done it more professionally? Maybe, but I understand it. And Jason says, Cam, I'm buzzing, but also knowing that it's only 4 games in, but looks like we have passion and commitment back. Long may it continue. Yeah, spot on. Let's get back into the game then. We rambled for a little bit there, so let's get back into the game. Like I said, Everton got 1-0 down, and you're sort of thinking, right, okay, we've been awful so far. We're now 1-0 down. The 5 at the back isn't working whatsoever. It isn't working. It's evidently clear that it's not working. And is it now going to be a massive uphill battle to get back into this game? Because we're playing a side in Burnley who notoriously are very, very difficult to break down, especially when they win games of football, and when they're winning games of football, and especially away from home, because they just throw 11 men behind the ball, and that's it. And to be fair to Everton, even before the Andre Gomez change, I think a couple of the players actually took the game by the scruff of the neck a little bit and thought, no, this isn't good enough. We need to win this game, or we at least need to do something. We need to get back into this game. And just Townsend picks the ball up in a wide area, plays an absolutely stunning ball into the box, stunning cross into the box, and Michael Keane rises, unmarked completely to be fair, but rises and puts the ball in the back of the net. And by the way, it's not an easy header. It's not an easy header to be, even though he's unmarked, and even though you'd say, oh, it's an easy goal, that cross come in with a lot of venom on it. That cross come in with a lot of pace on it. We've just spoke about how Andros Townsend has got the ability to click this button in his brain and to hit a ball at 70,000 miles an hour. We saw that with his goal. We saw that with the cross. It was a cross come in with a lot of pace. And to be fair to Michael Keane, he got up, he got a good strong head on it, and he guided it towards goal. And you know what? Let's not go too overboard with Michael Keane. Let's not sit here and start saying he's the best defender in the world and he's going to be unbelievable this season. But that is exactly what Michael Keane needed. He's a confidence player, Michael Keane, and whether that's a positive or a negative, and whether you can have confidence players in your team or not, that's a different discussion for a different day. He's a confidence player. We all know that. When he's playing well and when he's confident, he can play really well. When he's not confident, he can play really poorly. We know that this isn't new. This isn't news. This isn't something that is new to us. We've known this for a long time. When Michael Keane's at the top of his game and he's confident, he is really, really good. When he's not confident, he's really he can be really bad. He can make silly mistakes. So again, he wasn't great for the first half on Monday night. There was a couple of times when again he was struggling. He was losing the physical battle with Ashley Barnes or Chris Wood. But as soon as that goal went in, all of a sudden it seemed like he just grew in confidence, as you would expect. And for the rest of the game, defensively, he was brilliant. Didn't make a mistake, didn't put a foot wrong, dealt with a couple of, what could have been dangerous situations, dealt with them perfectly as if they were no issue whatsoever, was confident in doing so, played about 2 or 3 really good balls over the top to the forward line to get us attacking again. And that's something that Michael Keane does have in his locker, and I really want Michael Keane to tap into a little bit more if if he's going to continue playing games of football. It's that ability to spray a ball, because he has got it. He has got it. He's got the ability to pick a ball up at the centre back position and lash it long field to the feet of the attacker on the run. He can do that. He showed it before. He showed it on a couple of times on Monday night. He's got the ability, so it would be great to see him do that a lot more often. But he almost seemed to grow with confidence, and he grew into the game a little bit more, and he looked like he was enjoying his football, and that's exactly what a goal does for you, and that's exactly what that goal did for Michael Keane. It was a brilliant header, brilliant goal, and Everton are back in the game, and all of a sudden you're thinking, right, okay, it's 1-1 now. Now go and get the game by the scruff of the neck, hit them while they're sort of they're on the back foot. And as much as you might say that, and we might have all been thinking that, I don't think any of us thought Everton would then go and score 4 goals or 3 goals in 6 minutes. It was a bit mad, wasn't it? If you're enjoying, by the way, please hit that like button. It only takes a second. Don't forget to subscribe as well. That would mean a great deal to me. Share the stream if you're enjoying. That would be fantastic. But yeah, like I said, we go 1-1. Rafa Benitez makes the change. Andre Gomez comes on. Ben Godfrey comes off. Of course, we revert back to a 4 at the back formation. 4-3-3 with Andre Gomez partnering Abdoulaye Doucouré and Alan in the midfield. And that was it then. That was it. We just turned it on, didn't we? We absolutely turned it on for about 5 or 6 minutes. Everton went from Everton to the best team ever to have played football. I'll leave that one up for discussion within about 2 or 3 minutes. Andros Townsend picking the ball up in the midfield. Again, getting to 25, 30 yards out, and you're thinking, is he going to shoot? Is he going to pass it? What's he going to do? It was a good area. He unleashes a shot. The swerve on the shot is unbelievable. I don't think I can compliment this goal anymore. I've watched it, by the way, a good 45,000 times, no money messing. I've watched it a lot. I've only just stopped watching Doucouré's goal from the Southampton game, and now I've got another one to watch for the next week or so until we play again. And as I said on Monday night on the Instant Match Reaction, I could get used to going to Goodison Park, and every time we go to Goodison, seeing a player lash one in the top bin, I could easily get used to that. That's fine by me. Absolutely fine by me. If we're going to go every time we play at home, a player's going to score a wonder strike, I'm happy with that, mate. I'm happy with that all day long. But no, he picks the ball up, obviously, again, 25, 30 yards. Nothing I can say can do justice to this goal. No words that can come out of my mouth can do justice to how good this goal was. It was the best goal I've seen at Goodison Park for a long time. Long time. Best goal I've seen Everton score for a long time. Abdoulaye Doucouré's goal was great against Southampton, but it's just the way he hits it from so far out with so much swerve. And I thought it deflected originally, because as I said, he's hit it about 250 miles an hour. So by the time it's come off his boot, it's in the back of the net, and you're jumping up and down and you're celebrating. So you don't really see the goal in its full glory straight away when you watch it. So when I seen it first off, I actually thought the defender was a lot closer to him for the start, and I thought it had deflected off the defender, because it looked like one of them where he's hit it low and then all of a sudden it's looped over, so it would have made sense for it to have deflected off the defender's knee or something and looped over Pope. But then you watch it again on the replay, and he just hits it with that much swerve, with that much venom, that the ball just moves in midair. It not descends, that's coming down, isn't it? It ascends in midair. It's an absolute, it's a worldie, it's a rocket. I said on the Instant Match Reaction, if he's not careful, his left leg will be sponsored by NASA in the next couple of weeks, because they'll be straight on that with those rockets, mate. It was an absolute rocket. And listen, Andros Townsend is very, very, very hard to dislike. He is a lovely fella. You can tell he loves playing for Everton. You can tell he is massively appreciative, as I said before, for this opportunity to play for a club the size of Everton. Biggest club he's ever played for. Don't try and talk to me about Tottenham. Everton are the biggest club he's ever played for. And he is obviously working with a manager who he's worked with before and worked very well with before. And again, you can see that in his performances. Not only is he a massively hard-working footballer who will, battle and work hard and give you everything that you need defensively and all the defensive cover in the world, but also going forward, this isn't a lad who we've brought in to just be a hard worker and to, he's somebody, he's somebody that Benitez can trust. I remember couple of weeks ago there was this argument, and I'm not going to get into this argument, by the way, about, oh, I can't believe we've replaced James Rodriguez with Andros Townsend. I can't believe that we've replaced a player with the world-class ability of James Rodriguez for somebody who works hard like Andros Townsend. And again, I'm not comparing James Rodriguez and Andros Townsend. I'm not saying that Townsend is a better technical footballer than James Rodriguez. However, I think we need to give a bit more respect to Andros Townsend. We haven't just brought a lad in here who works dead hard and will run round and technically can't really do anything. We've brought a lad in here who not only will do all of that and will give it 110% for the team and the manager, and who will battle and work his arse off, but also has got the ability to lash one in from 30 yards like that. And as I said before, can do that consistently, can have those shots consistently. It's not a one and done. He can, you know, whether he scores them or not, he troubles goalkeepers and defenders with that ability consistently. And as I said, absolutely world-class goal. World-class goal. And yeah, unbelievable finish. And Andros Townsend was talking after the game, and this is something that we're going to do a separate live stream on, by the way, so I'm not going to talk too much about this. This is something we're going to do a separate live stream on. But Andros Townsend was talking after the game about Rafa Benitez and the impact that Rafa Benitez has had on this Everton team, and he said, to give you an example, he's just come over to me after the game and spoken to me. Didn't congratulate me on my goal. Didn't say well done. Didn't say what a beauty. In fact, he spent 5 or 10 minutes talking to me about what I should have been doing, where I should have been, why I should have made this pass earlier, why I should have been in this area of the space, why I should have been there. You've seen a video of Rafa Benitez at the end of the game the other day giving instructions to Seamus Coleman on the pitch. You know, not, you know, shaking his head and giving him a big hug, but almost patting him on the back and saying, well done, but you needed to be doing this, you need to be there, you need to be there. That's exactly what Everton need. And like I said, little sneak peek, we are going to do a separate live stream on that in the coming days. That never satisfied mentality of Rafa Benitez, because I think it's exactly what Everton need and have needed for a long time. But how good is Andros Townsend? And as soon as Andros Townsend fires that one into the top bin, all of a sudden Everton in full flow. A minute later, if that, 50 seconds later, whatever it was, Abdoulaye Doucouré brings the ball. Again, Andros Townsend flicks the ball over the defender. Abdoulaye Doucouré picks it up, plays an absolute wonder pass. And this is what I'm talking about Abdoulaye Doucouré getting forward more, being able to break forward more. When we were playing a 5 at the back formation, he didn't have that midfield cover to be able to do that. So I think he was constantly sort of looking over his shoulder and thinking, I can't really get forward enough here because I haven't got the cover behind me. I don't want to leave myself exposed, in behind. I don't want to leave Alan sort of on his own behind. As soon as we brought Andre Gomes on and we had that extra midfielder, all of a sudden, Abdoulaye Doucouré was able to get forward a lot more. He was able to, again, do the attacking work that he's obviously loved doing recently, and we've seen that. Unbelievable ball to Demarai Gray. Unbelievable ball. And Demarai Gray proves why he might just be the best bargain to have ever played football, to be honest. To have ever been involved in a transfer market. £1.5 million for Demarai Gray. You're having a laugh, aren't you? This lad is unbelievable. Great ball in by Abdoulaye Doucouré, as I said. Demarai Gray gets onto it, slots it past the goalkeeper. 3-1, easy finish, calm, cool, collected. Knew what he was doing, didn't crumble under the pressure, didn't change his mind mid sort of run, didn't decide, oh my god, I'm one-on-one with the goalkeeper, what do we do here? He just slotted it past the goalkeeper. His knee slide was boss. You could see how much it meant to him. 3 goals in 3 games for Demarai Gray. What a player. What a player. And like I said, not only the goal for Demarai Gray on Monday night, I thought his performance was very good. Even in the first half when we weren't particularly playing good football. Glenn says, gotta go, Cam, I'll watch later. Thank you very much, Glenn. Really appreciate it, my mate. Even in the first half of the game, when we weren't particularly playing well and when we weren't really getting an awful lot of the ball or holding the ball up an awful lot, he was still, trying to create chances. He was still getting forward. He was still trying to drive forward. He was still trying to, get Richarlison, get Andros Townsend into the game. So, Demarai Gray, again, unbelievable finish, unbelievable performance, and another goal. 3 goals in 3 for Demarai Gray in an Everton shirt. £1.5 million, by the way. £1.5 million. Mad. Absolutely mad. £1.5 million for Demarai Gray. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable player. 3 goals in 3. Showed his cool, calm and collectedness in front of goal on Monday night. Like I said, didn't panic, didn't change his mind. Just slotted it past the goalkeeper. Full of confidence. As you can see, and very clearly enjoying the responsibility he's got under Rafa Benitez. And we said this when we signed Demarai Gray. let's hope that we are the club where he's learned everything he's needed to learn as a kid, and he can just sort of channel that inner raw talent that he has. And that's exactly what he's done so far. He's loving his football here. You can see his confidence, his ability is unquestionable. And again, another absolutely brilliant goal. And all of a sudden, within the space of 6 minutes, we've gone from 1-0 down to 3-1 up. And you're thinking, wow, what's going on here? A minute later, we get break into the box again. Abdoulaye Doucouré puts it into the back of the net. Like I said, my dad's sitting there saying, I can't do this anymore. What's going on? Why are Everton all of a sudden amazing? I don't know where I am. I think I've gone about 10 rows in front of me. Madness. The ground is erupting. The atmosphere is amazing. The energy, the momentum, the passion everywhere. And it gets ruled offside, obviously. Like I said, I haven't seen it again, but I think it was offside, to be fair. And it gets, like I said, it gets ruled offside. And I think that did sort of kill our momentum a little bit then. I think Burnley sort of were allowed to, sort of, again, got back into the game and sort of calmed it down, almost as if to say, right, that 6 minute spell's finished now with that offside goal. Stop making silly mistakes. And again, like I said, the momentum of just constantly breaking one after each other. It sort of, it calmed down a little bit, didn't it? It quieted down a little bit. We were still on top. We were still creating chances. We were still getting forward, but we weren't obviously getting forward as frequently as we were in that period. But like I said, we had chances. We had chances in the game to get back into it. Alex Iwobi come on the pitch. Obviously, Solomon Rondon come on for his debut. And we had a couple of other chances that, again, could have easily scored. Andre Gomes has one where beautiful play. Again, I said it a couple of weeks ago when we played Brighton. Some of the football against Brighton was some of the best football I've ever seen from an Everton team. Now, some of the football in the last 20 minutes of the game on Monday was very similar to that. Lovely passages of play. Burnley couldn't get anywhere near us. One-touch passes inside and outside. The vision of some of the players was amazing in that period. And again, we're creating chances for ourselves. Andre Gomes has one where there's lovely 1-2 passes into the box. Andre Gomes picks it up 5 yards away from goal. And I actually don't know if he's offside or not. But anyway, he takes a shot, he's just a little bit off balance and he can't quite wrap his foot correctly around it, and it ends up going out just past the post. If it went in, it'd have been amazing for Andre Gomes as well, because he made a real impact when he come on, and it'd have been great for him to get a goal. We had another one towards the end of the game where Alex Iwobi flashed the ball into the box and nobody was there to finish it. I think Rondon slid in but just didn't quite get there. That could have easily been a goal as well. We had another couple like that. Obviously Burnley scored towards the end of the game and it was ruled offside, but Everton saw the game out, and all of a sudden, like I said, from a really, really poor first half performance to a bit of a poor first 10 minutes of the second half to ultimately getting the equaliser, changing the game, and then just absolutely turning it on and being much the better side. The atmosphere was amazing. And how good is that to feel? How good is it to feel to think that at half time you're going to be leaving Goodison Park in 45 minutes time fuming and gutted, to actually leaving ecstatic, elated, and absolutely almost drunk on emotion and drunk on atmosphere. It was amazing. Obviously there's room to improve, as I said before. Ideally we want to be sitting here saying, do you know what a amazing 90 minutes of football we've just witnessed. We don't want to be sitting here every week saying, yeah, we were great in the second half but we were shit in the first half. But ultimately, look, it's another win. 10 points, joint top of the league, 4th I think in the table on goal difference, still unbeaten, of course. Hopefully, touch wood, that continues. Villa next, but a really, really, really good win. Good performance in the second half. Great again to see the little things that typically Everton don't seem to do, but are doing now, like getting their heads up when they go 1-0 down and actually getting back into games and winning them. Substitutes coming on and changing games. Players taking the game by the scruff of the neck, showing responsibility. Seamus Coleman again, I thought was exceptional the other day. Taking responsibility, grabbing the game by the scruff of the neck, getting in the face of Burnley players when they were trying to again crowd the referee. Alan, I thought, was brilliant in that second half. Won every ball that he had to win. Battled, worked hard, fought straight in the face of of other players. And I said it the other day when Richarlison went off and he seemed to have a bit of a strop. Alan was straight over there. I said it in, I think it was the Instant Match Reaction, all the player ratings. It's mad, isn't it? Because you watch on television, you watch football on television, and you don't quite see these things because the camera's always zooming into a certain player or to a certain manager or to a certain situation. If you go and watch Everton live at Goodison Park or in any stadium, just watch Alan. Just watch Alan throughout, a period in the game, just watch him. He's always the first person. If a player doesn't look happy, he's always the first person over there. If a player's his head's dropped a little bit, he's always the first person over there. If there's a situation, he's always the first person over there. He's a real leader, Alan, a real leader. He was the first person over to Richarlison the other day, patting him on the back, going, you know what, keep your head up, lad. You've had a good game there. You haven't scored, but you've worked hard, you've battled. Keep your head up. He's a real leader, Alan, and you can see he feeds off the crowd as well. I thought he was excellent on Monday night, absolutely excellent. Demarai Gray, Andros Townsend, even Richarlison, as we said, brilliant. Abdoulaye Doucouré, fantastic. Second half, Yerry Mina, Michael Keane, faultless. Luca Dean, okay, is crossing, could improve a little bit, but again, solid performance. Jordan Pickford didn't put a foot wrong either. Just a great performance in the second half and a great win for Everton. Anyway, let's get into the live comments before we finish up the live stream. Where are we? Ian says, too many bad refs who don't like us as a club, prejudice, but whatever reasons, encourage the nasty tackles because within a minute, Burnley knew they would get away with over-the-top aggression. Yeah, potentially. I agree. Listen, Martin Atkinson hates Everton. Let's not get it twisted. Let's not start sitting here saying he hates Everton. He's a biased referee. He hates Everton. Jason says, to be fair to the ref, they've been encouraged to keep the game moving more. They have, and I've got no issue with that. I've got no issue with sort of good challenges being let play because they're good challenges. But when you're throwing in a challenge that is very clearly with the intent to hurt the attacker, or you've got a bit of a bite on your tongue to hurt him, that's a foul. Ultimately, that's a foul. And like I said, for me, Martin Atkinson, and it's all good the referee's being told to keep a game moving, and the referee's being told to, to not give every foul and to this, that and the other. But as I said before, that challenge happens on Mohamed Salah in the 90th minute at Anfield when Liverpool are 1-0 down on the edge of the box. Is it given? Of course it's given. If it happens on Cristiano Ronaldo at Old Trafford, is it given? Of course it's given. So it can't be one rule for one and another rule for the other. We know it is, because we know that these referees are told to allow certain teams to get certain decisions. We know that, but that shouldn't be the case. Ian says, Doucouré got away with a big penalty shout against us, though. I didn't see that one, to be honest. I must have missed that one. Eugene said, if Everton had Carlo Ancelotti as manager, now Everton will have lost this game. We don't know that, don't we? But we haven't got Carlo Ancelotti as manager. We've got Rafa Benitez, so let's look at the positives. Willie says, morning Cam, great start to the season under Rafa, and now we turn to those 6 minutes into 60 minutes against Villa. Well, hopefully we turn it into 90 minutes, but yeah, 60 will do. Yeah, I agree, mate. I agree, absolutely. I hope you're doing well as well, Willie. Anthony says, still buzzing after the game, Cam. Let's hope we do the same against Villa. Let's hope so. Dosbick says, morning guys, just checking in. Is right, my mate. Hope you're well. Ian says, has scored a poacher's goal in the cup and has hit the bar twice. Amazing form. Yeah, absolutely, and should have scored a second the other day as well. Kev says Richarlison could take a leaf out of Townsend's book. Well, hopefully Andros Townsend will be working with Richarlison. Again, Andros Townsend is a leader, so I'm sure he'll be working with Richarlison on the training ground. Basic says, anyone remember the PS1 game, Adidas Power Soccer? That's Townsend, that is. I do remember it, I do. And yeah, you're right. Basic says, if those tackles went in on RS, the media would have been up in arms. The commentary team I watched just laughed. When did tackles from behind become legal again? Well, look, again, as Gary Neville said, rightly so, that challenge on Richarlison in the opening minute is the mirror image of the challenge on Harvey Elliott. I've seen members of the media say that challenge on Harvey Elliott was disgusting and was a red card immediately. No one's mentioned the one on Richarlison, which is a mirror image. And look, the Harvey Elliott situation is an awful injury, and hope he recovers well and stuff. And it's never good to see a player get injured like that. But the challenge is the exact same. The golfer says our players should have made more of that challenge. Where was VAR in all of this? Endangering an opponent. Sorry, yeah, I'd agree. Atkinson is a joke. Should never have a referee. He should never referee at any level. I would go as far as to say Martin Atkinson is the worst referee at any level of football on this planet, including five-a-side on a Wednesday night between your mates. The worst referee. Glenn says, question, will there ever be a goal scored with a quality worthy of Cam's YouTube channel? Answer, no. But Townsend's goal comes close. Oh, nice one, mate. Townsend's goal is well worthy of this YouTube channel, mate. Jason says, if Ronaldo had been brought down in the opening minutes, that player would have got sent off. I'd agree. My man of the match was Andros Townsend, says Eugene. Andros said on Monday Night Football, Rafa has told him to just do his stuff, says Jason. He did. Rafa allow incest emerges, according to Eugene. Interesting. And he says, so right, Cam, Rafa, it's what we need from a manager. He is totally hands-on. Kick up the arse we needed. Yeah, I agree. John says, I think Rafa will play a 5 at the back against Villa. We can score worldies. It was just nobody ever tried before. fair enough. I don't think we'll play a 5 at the back, but we'll wait and see. Trevor says, Begovic, Delph, Keane, Holgate, Kenny, Davis, Kabam, Gordon, Gomez, Iwobi, Rondon. The drop in quality in each position is exactly what catches us out. Cautious optimism is something we have to get used to. Yeah, I'd agree. And again, hopefully, touch wood, we have a bit more luck with injuries this season. Last season, we were done worse than anybody. Don't care what anybody says. You can take your Liverpool away from it. We were affected worse than anybody with injuries last season. And you're right, the drop-off in quality is worrying, but the hope is that can be managed. And like I said, if Rafa Benitez can get the best out of every single player in the squad, then maybe it won't be too worrying. Lewis says, Coleman showing his flair with his little header, keep you up some flicks, bosses that right-hand side. Yeah, that was amazing, it was amazing. Rafa in says, James, thought Alan was man of the match, as Anthony, I thought he was brilliant. John says, Alan Peter equals Peter Reid, the God equals Patrick Vieira. Both were brilliant the other day. Martin Atrociouson was the ref. There you go. He was shocking. Real Sociedad says, interesting. And Jason says, big up to Harvey Elliott for helping the kid in the hospital and giving him a share. Yeah, it was good. It was good to see that. It was good to see. Yeah. Anyway, look, listen. Another win. That's all that matters at the end of the day. You know, again, 3 wins in 4 games, 1 draw in the Premier League. What more can you ask for? There's room to improve, obviously. You know, ideally, like I said, we want to be sitting here saying what a brilliant 90 minutes rather than just what a brilliant 45 minutes. But let's be honest, we've won a game of football and we've done it in a way that was amazing in the end. Absolutely amazing. So there you go. That is going to do it for this live stream. If you have enjoyed this one, please do hit that like button. It does only take a second. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe as well. We will be back over the next couple of days with another couple of streams, and then of course on Friday we will have the game preview ahead of our Premier League game against Aston Villa on Saturday. Massive thank you to everybody for getting involved in the live comments. If you have enjoyed this one, please do hit that like button. It does only take a second. If you're new, hit the subscribe button. That would mean a great deal to me as well. And if you're watching a YouTube video, get your comments down below. Big thanks for watching. Ian says up the F and Toffees is right, Ian. Thank you very much. Big thanks to everybody in the comments. Massive thanks to everybody for watching this YouTube video. Leave a like if you've enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, and we'll see you soon on the Mighty Blues. Cheers for watching. See you after.